Welcome to Totem Pole Nation, episode 4 of the recruiting trail of the Kentucky Wildcats Basketball. That's obviously my team, 2024 recruiting class. If you need your merch like this shirt, you go to totempole.nation.com. Thanks, Solid Sports Network, for the platform. Also, if you want to follow Kentucky on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, follow them at SSN_Wildcats. Like I said, we'll be getting into episode 4 of the Kentucky Wildcats basketball. It's very, very early in recruiting, but obviously, like I said, Kentucky's been one of the top dogs. With Kentucky, Duke, and all those teams have been the top dogs for wild college basketball, but some of them have fell off. But without further ado, let's get into these recruits. Well, Kentucky. Yes, sir. Kentucky. That's my team, and I ride with Kentucky when it comes to basketball. All right. So Kentucky is ranked number 2 in recruiting. This is very, very early in the recruiting process. I'm gonna keep saying this. We're in the middle of college basketball season. Football season is almost over. So it's very, very, very early. So all the it's not good. It's only about 5 commits. Very, very early in the recruiting process. Like I said, Kentucky's ranked number 2. They have 5 total commits. They have 3 5-stars. They have 2 4-stars, and they have 0 3-stars. Kentucky is known for recruiting head coach and John Calapari, which I like and I respect. These guys have some top dogs. They recruit very well. I don't think recruitment is always an issue when it comes to Kentucky, obviously. But at the end of the day, they hadn't been able to win a national championship since 2012 on Anthony Davis days, obviously. So Kentucky has about 5 guys, obviously, when it comes to recruiting. So number 1 of the top recruits that Kentucky does have when it comes to basketball, give me this guy right here. All right. Jayden Quaintance, if I pronounced that correctly. Jayden Quaintance, all right, at 6'9", center, 230 pounds, out of Raleigh, North Carolina, Word of God Christian Academy. This guy has size. When it comes to Kentucky and when it comes to John Calipari, you have to rebound. When you play at the University of Kentucky, you're not going to average 30 points a game when it comes to this. All right. You're not going to be able to average 30 points a game when it comes to the University of Kentucky. All right. So he's from Word of God Christian Academy. All right. 6'9". He signed with Kentucky over Florida, Missouri, Ohio State, and USF. All right. So when it comes to this guy, he has a wingspan of 7'3". All right. Vertical athleticism. He has a strong frame, good hands, soft touch, and he has great shooting potential. Excuse me. All right. He has all the natural tools to be a huge mismatch, which I think he will be one of those guys. He's like an Oscar Tshiebwe. All right. A Julius Randle, all right, that can shoot the ball. He's very aggressive. Consistency and efficiency should be primary objectives for this guy moving forward. His overall production can be streaky, but he has not fully grasped on how his vast versatility should allow him to take easier shots and not tough and contested shots, obviously. Defensively, with his fundamentals, footwork, and overall awareness has to be cleaned up. But with a lot of young guys coming out of high school, everything has to be cleaned up, so it's not a surprise. He can close the ground very quickly for his size as well. He's not going to be able to turn 17 until July of 2024, which means he'll reclassify from his original graduating class of 2025. And he is not a one-and-done eligible in 2024 because of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, which means you probably have to be 18 or older to even get to the NBA draft. Because when it comes to Kentucky, all these guys like Tyler Hero, P.J. Washington, Anthony Davis, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, all the way back then. Some of those guys didn't always stay for a full 4 years. Some of these guys have just been one and done, 2 years and done. That's how Kentucky is. And it's very hard for a team like that to even win a championship when you're always one and done. So when it comes to Kentucky, I'm not very surprised that we will recruit. My only concern is how consistent we are in the NCAA tournament. So now here's the second guy that I like right here when it comes to Kentucky. Give it to me. This guy right here in Billy Richmond. He's out of Camden, New Jersey. All right. Shooting guard, 6'5", 200 pounds. All right. Kentucky, when it comes to guards, Andrew Harrison, Emmanuel Quickly, De'Aaron Fox. When it comes to this guy, he chose Kentucky over Alabama, LSU, Memphis, and California. All right. Took the visit on September 15th. He is very big. He's also a shooting guard from Memphis, Tennessee as well. This guy, when it comes to Billy Richmond, he can develop his great skill guards. Very great. He's highly competitive. He runs very well. His upper body and lower body, plenty of room. He got to add more muscle, especially when you're playing the SEC in basketball. The SEC competition in basketball has very, very well improved when it comes to basketball. It used to be weak, but it's very, very improved. He's creating for others increasingly frequently, but can't be turnover prone. I've seen his high school film. He can be very, very, very turnover prone, obviously. In the EYBL, he was reluctant to take open shots, but he only shot 25% in three-point attempts, which obviously it's a learning curve, obviously. But both on and off the ball, he utilizes his physical and tools and competitors to be a playmaker, but not necessarily have much length as advertised. He can rebound, but he likes to take the ball off the grass and start the break himself. When it comes to Kentucky, like I said, you have to be able to use your teammates. You cannot have one guy scoring. When it comes to Kentucky, there's not a lot of weaknesses. The only weaknesses they have is a lot of young guys. All right. When you have a lot of young guys, you don't really understand, how they move and how to really gel together. But that's it when it comes to the top two recruits. The other recruits that I am going to mention for Kentucky that they have is Buki Flan from White Plains, New York. 6'2", 170. He's a guard as well. Somoto Cyril, who is from Atlanta, Georgia. Overtime elite. 6'10 center, 240 pounds. Travis Perry, a point guard, 6'2", 170. He is from Eddyville, Kentucky, Lyon County. So as of right now from Kentucky, they only got one guy from the state of Kentucky. But they can get recruits from everybody. Most of the guys they got is from New York and New Jersey. So those guys are big-time ballers, obviously. But let's look at this Kentucky roster. Head coach John Calapari, obviously. They've been through some weird situations, obviously. COVID, they weren't very good at all. They weren't very effective during the COVID period, obviously, so they were very, very tough. But when it comes to this, they got some transfers here and there. So their roster, there's Rob Dillingham, he's a freshman. Justin Edwards is a freshman. Aaron Bradshaw is a freshman. Abal Thero is a sophomore. Trey Mitchell is a graduate student. Antonio Reeves is fifth year. Antonio Reeves has improved. He's been there for a while. So Trey Mitchell and Antonio Reeves looks like they'll be leaving. Brendan Canada is a graduate student as well. He could be leaving as well. Grant Darshire is a sophomore. Joey Hart's a freshman. Reed Shepard's a freshman. DJ Wagner is a freshman. Walker Horn's a sophomore. Jordan Burks is a freshman. Kareem Watkins is a senior. He'll be leaving. Ugana Aniso, if I didn't pronounce that, 7 foot. He's a sophomore as well. Zavar Isovich, 7'2", 234 pounds. So Kentucky has size. All right, 7 foot forward, 7'2" forward. They have a lot of size. 6'9" forward, 7'1" forward, 6'8" forward, 6'8". Kentucky's a very young roster. A very young roster. All right, Kentucky's always been very young because, like I said, Kentucky's always one and done. They have a very, very young roster. John Calipari as well has been through some crucial assistant head coaching changes. With Kenny Payne was a very, very good assistant. He is now the head coach at Louisville. So when it comes to Kentucky, how well can it be against a good Auburn team? How well can it be against an LSU team? How well can it be against Tennessee? What can they do in the NCAA tournament? Because they happen to be losing to Big 12 teams when it comes to the tournament. So Kentucky's a very, very young roster. They will continue to improve, but when it comes to all these freshmen they have to work together. They have to gel together. And do I think Kentucky can make the NCAA tournament? Yes. I think when it comes to Kentucky, they're going to have a problem of beating Kansas, which they lost to Kansas. They're going to have a problem of beating Duke. All these tough teams because of the young, experienced guys, obviously. So I have high hopes for Kentucky, but they have a very young group, and they only have about 3 seniors. That includes graduate transfers. So they're a very, very, very young roster. And it is very hard to play for Kentucky because, like I said, if you don't contribute on defense, you are done. And when you go to Kentucky, like I said, and I know I repeated it multiple times, you will not be the main guy that's going to score about 30 points a game when it comes to the University of Kentucky. But this is it for the Recruiting Trail episode 4. Without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Totem Pole Nation. If you need your merch, you go to totempolenation.com. Follow Kentucky Wildcats on X and Twitter. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Totem Pole Nation. Without further ado, y'all have a great day. Please take care, and Happy New Year.